I, 23F, think my boyfriend, 24M, of 3 years let my dog escape 5 months ago and wasn't hoping he'd be found. I apologize for the huge wall of text, but I'm very angry and upset right now and I don't know who to ask about this because it's 3 in the morning. TL, doctor at the bottom. 5 months ago, I was out shopping for groceries when I got a text from my boyfriend asking if I let my dog out before I left. I told him I didn't and that he was asleep on the couch when I left and I'd appreciate if he let him out while he was over. He said of course, and that was the end of the conversation until I got home. My apartment has a slider that leads out onto a small yard where my dog does his business. There's one gate fence that leads out into the parking lot that has to be unlocked from the inside. When I came home, my boyfriend was in the kitchen waiting for me and said that my dog accidentally got out. He was very apologetic and said he opened the slider to let him out and somehow the gate was open and my dog ran out and he couldn't catch him. I spent 2 months calling around to shelters, humane societies, rescues, animal control, putting up flyers, going to these places to look, asked my neighbors. I looked everywhere for him. I was heartbroken and I basically haven't stopped crying. My dog has never been one to run even if the gate was open. He loves to be around people and if his people are around, he stays put. I adopted him when he was 3 years old when I got an apartment and he's my first dog I'm responsible for on my own, not a family dog. He's now an older guy, going on 7. He doesn't have it in him to run away. He knows he has it good and sees running away wouldn't have any benefits. And beyond that, when I rescued him, he went through training and has very good recall. Not perfect, but he comes 8/10 when he's called. And then 2 days ago I get a call from a vet hospital 2 hours away saying that they scanned a stray dog and found his microchip matched my information. I may have broken a few speed limits getting to him but he was there. My little man was at the freaking vet hospital. I cried and asked 1,000 questions. He was found in that town wandering the day prior by an amazing woman who brought him to the vet. They said when he was dropped off, he didn't have a collar on and they asked the woman and she said he was found as is. But he was a little malnourished and dehydrated so the vet put him on a drip and got some food into him and scanned him today when they opened. And then they found me. I was so overwhelmed and happy and couldn't even start my car once I got in with him because I couldn't stop crying for a good 10 minutes. I drove him home, gave him a bath, and called/texted everyone he was home safe. My boyfriend's response was really cool, thumbs up. Then he came over yesterday and obviously all I wanted to do was tell him what happened, but he didn't even seem like he cared. He just nodded along as I talked. Asked him if something was wrong, but he said he was fine. My dog wouldn't go near him, which was weird considering my dog loved him before. I just figured he was scared to be home with other people at the moment and needed time to adjust. After my boyfriend left, I couldn't help but start maybe overthinking, which has led to this post. First, my dog wore a martingale collar with his tags on it and the collar had my information stitched into it. And he had his rabies tag, dog license, and an ID tag with his name, address, phone number, and said I am microchipped. For those that don't know, martingale collars, the one I had on him, are not buckle or breakaway collars. They have to be physically tightened or loosened to be taken off. Not something my dog could have just slipped when he ran off. At least, not easily. Don't come for me for having this collar on him. I now know the risks but I didn't at the time. He's now wearing a breakaway collar. Second, he won't go near my boyfriend. My boyfriend did try to lean down and pet him when he came over yesterday, and as soon as my dog noticed, he ran into my bedroom and didn't leave until my boyfriend left. Yet, he's said a very excitable hi to a few of his favorite neighbors, both male and female, young and older. Usually my dog would be walking over to my boyfriend and sitting by him until he acknowledges him with a few pets or a treat. Third, the gate. It's a very rare occasion I use that gate. Usually I use my front door, walk down the hallway, and get the mail or leave my apartment that way through the lobby. I almost never go around the building because that means I have to open the door with my keys and it's along the route. I don't remember even using it the week my dog went missing. It only opens from the inside, and I've never once before had an issue with it opening on its own. There's no damage to it and you can bet I fiddled with it when he first went missing to see if it was broken or there was something wrong with it. Nothing was. It latched fine and closed fine. Fourth, when my dog went missing, my boyfriend, now that I look back on it, wasn't invested. When I made the first round of flyers to put up, he actually asked, "Do you really think these will help?" Looking back, I don't think he cared one way or another if my dog was found. Never once before did my boyfriend say anything negative about my dog. He was never overly affectionate or excited that I had a dog, but he would throw the ball and pet him when he came over. They were never best friends cuddling up on the couch, but my dog did see him as someone to play with and hang out with. Now I feel like I'm going crazy. Think I might be overthinking this. Maybe it was a freak accident and he just ran out the yard because it was open for some reason. Or the alternative is my boyfriend willingly let my dog leave the yard and somehow got him to go away. Because I know my dog and he would never just run unless he thought it was a game or something. Is this something I ask him about? How do I even bring this up? Hey, did you make my dog run away? Or is this just something I'm just over-exaggerating in my head because I'm happy my dog's home but I'm looking for answers? Too long didn't read. My dog went missing 5 months ago from my yard when my boyfriend let him out and I found him 2 days ago. Now I think I might be overthinking that my boyfriend is the reason my dog ran away because the collar he was wearing isn't one that a dog could easily get off but wasn't found wearing it. My boyfriend was never very affectionate with my dog to begin with. The gate he apparently ran out of wasn't even open the week he went missing, and now that I look back on it, my boyfriend seemed like he didn't care one way or another if my dog was found. Update: first off, thank you all for the support. I can't express how much I appreciate it. I'm so freaking happy he's home safe. I have not spoken to my boyfriend yet today about this, other than to ask if he was free tonight to talk. He is, so I'm going to talk to him tonight. I apologize for not replying to people. I've had a very busy morning. I'll try to answer people as I go. I brought him to his usual vet to get checked out this morning. He's still a little dehydrated and he needs to eat more food, but spread throughout the day. He's lost weight and needs to get it back on. He's also exhausted. Otherwise, except for a few scrapes and spots, he's doing really good. To put into perspective how far away from home he was, I googled how far my apartment is from the vet office he was found, set it to a walking human speed, and it's 34 hours away and 99.2 miles away. It may not seem far because of a car or any form of transportation, but for a dog, that's a long ways to go. As for motives as to why he would do it, I don't know. I really don't. I got my dog 2 months after I started dating my boyfriend, but we had been friends for a few months before and he knew I really wanted a dog. When I finally did get my dog, he wasn't exactly happy about it. He was asking questions like, can you actually afford a dog and an apartment? What about when you go to class and work? He tried to convince me not to adopt him, but I was dead set on it. That said, he wasn't the only one who was saying these things. My dad was very upset with me for getting a dog until I showed him my entire plan and expenses of it. And then he was fine with it. However, even though I said I was getting a dog and there were no issues about it, my boyfriend was still saying I was making a mistake. It took him a few weeks to finally get around to even play with him. Did speak to my landlord about any cameras in the area and he said that he would take a look, but he wasn't sure if there was one facing near the yard to see if the gate really was open and my dog ran through. That being said, I've never had an issue with that gate for as long as I've lived here and no one ever uses it. If maintenance needs to come in, they go in through the front door. And if they needed to be in the yard, they would alert me to let me know they needed, again, to go through my apartment to get there. They don't use the gates to any of the first floor apartments. I will update when I have more information, but this is all I have right now. I'm sorry it's not exactly exciting. And just a reminder, please microchip your animals if you can, and give them some love. I made a new post with an update. I apologize for not adding it here. This was getting long and I thought it would be easier for people. How far away was he found? If it's quite far, I would say, he didn't let him run away. I'd say, your BF took your dog to some place, took of the collar and left him there. Maybe I am wrong, but I'd say that dogs don't wander off for miles and miles, right? Hope I am not right, but in this case, you need to protect your dog, because next time he might want to make sure he doesn't come back. Again, maybe this is over the top, but you never know. It would fit with the "do you think it will help" about the poster/flyers made for the dog. If he did something like that, he would know that those wouldn't matter, as the dog was quite far away. But at least he didn't went and put the dog down. You are not overthinking. Those are major red flags. I would not let that dog be left alone with him ever again, yet stay with that man. He knew how much your dog meant to you, yet didn't do much to help a lot. Now pick your dog over that jerk. I'd say your math adds up. Trust your dog for sure. Your BF betrayed him somehow by either chasing him off, or more likely, leaving him somewhere remote. There's no way the dog escapes the glass door, then escapes the fenced yard, then loses his collar. Absolutely ask him. I'd say it's weird that dog somehow managed to lose his collar and get out through a fence I never open. Plus, he isn't your biggest fan now that he's back. I have to ask, was this not an accident? Then watch his face. His mouth, if he has any sense, is going to say no. But you should catch him off guard enough that his face tells the truth. I absolutely second this approach. Also, I have to say, for me the major red flag is that your BF's behavior is not at all the behavior of someone who accidentally lost anyone's, NVM his GF's beloved dog. I'd be distraught. Your BF allegedly saw the dog go through the gate and couldn't catch him, so then what? Calmly reclosed the gate and shrugged. The story doesn't add up. Either he didn't see the dog leave, or, as a human being, he ran after that dog with all his might and then rang you immediately, and or was in a state from looking for him when you came in, which he evidently wasn't. I'm sorry, hun, but I don't think the gate was involved at all. From your dog's behavior, I think he was either chased or driven somewhere, possibly smacked until he stopped coming back to your boyfriend. Trust your dog. Maybe take your BF elsewhere to ask him this question and have a trusted family member look after the dog and be waiting for you to get home. If my girlfriend's dog, but really my dog mwahahaha, ever ran away, he wouldn't. He's a good boy and comes when called. She would not find me waiting for her when she got home. I would have called her while chasing the dog, or going in the last direction I saw the dog going in. No way in hell would I just wait for her to get home to tell her he ran away. I would have pretended that I knew animal tracking, checking every fucking leaf/twig for evidence a dog had gone by. I don't trust your boyfriend. My 29F husband, 32M, became obsessed with Napoleon, and I worry about his mental health. I want to begin with saying that he did not show any signs of obsession or a similar behavior before, or at least I did not see it during our marriage of 2 years plus a relationship of 3 years before. He could be too blunt or lack subtlety sometimes, but was generally a very logical man with sound judgment. That was until about 6 to 7 months ago when I found him watching something on his PC. I asked him what it was and he said it was a documentary about Napoleon and his life, battles, campaigns, etc. That struck me as odd because he was never interested in history, politics, or this type of thing before. He did not change overnight, but gradually. Over time, he started to watch documentaries, videos, and movies about Napoleon more and more frequently. I didn't think anything of it until a parcel arrived at our house. I picked it up as he was at work. The huge cargo was hundreds of books written solely about Napoleon, biographical books as well as books about his wars, etc. I, of course, asked him what this was all about and he shrugged it off, saying that it wasn't a big deal and he just wanted to learn. By this time he was spending almost all of his free time watching Napoleon documentaries/videos/movies or reading these books. I also saw that the wallpaper of his PC and his phone lock screen, which were previously photos of us together, was changed to paintings of Napoleon. A few days later, another parcel arrived, this time containing huge posters, portraits and paintings of, you guessed it, Napoleon. I was determined to talk to him seriously the next day after work. When I arrived home I struggled to keep my emotions stable as I came to a house decorated head to toe with Napoleon posters and paintings. All the way from the kitchen to the bedroom, walls and tables were covered. I angrily asked him if he's okay and told him to remove them. He then got overly offended by my remark and acted like I'm in the wrong. I decided to wait until I cooled off. A week or so has passed and we barely even talked to each other, all the while living in a house filled with those posters, as my husband didn't allow me to remove them and got unusually angry when I tried to do so. Things came to a breaking point when another parcel arrived, containing useless items like a strange hat, which I'm guessing is a Napoleon hat, a replica sword, strange-looking clothing, a pair of tall boots, and a bust of Napoleon. I got furious and confronted him. He completely ignored what I said and asked me stuff like, is it legal to own a horse in the backyard? I seriously thought, more like hoped, that he was joking or that this whole thing was an elaborate prank. But he kept a serious face all that time. I packed my things and stormed out of the house in a moment of anger. I'm at my parents' house now. Just told them that we had a huge fight. I'm seriously considering divorce, as he is no longer the man I once loved for quite some time now. We have no kids if that matters. What should I do? Too long didn't read. My husband snapped and started watching and buying stuff about Napoleon. Had a huge argument because of it. I'm worried about his mental state and considering a divorce. Need advice. On a Zoom call last night, I saw a woman in my friend's house who wasn't his wife. Good morning everyone. Every Sunday night some of my friends/co-workers at the university I teach at get together for a Zoom meeting. One of my friends left the room, and while he was gone, a very young woman who clearly wasn't his wife, she's away on a trip I believe, walked in, unaware the Zoom call was going on. I don't like to jump to conclusions, but this woman came from the bedroom wearing just a hoodie and socks. When my friend came back in and saw her in there, he looked embarrassed but didn't say anything, and she left right away, so I think it's clear what was going on. I think he was hoping we hadn't noticed, since there was a lot of us on the call and there was another conversation going on. My wife and my friend's wife are best friends. I don't like inserting myself into private situations, especially with a co-worker and friend. However, I feel like my wife would be upset if I didn't tell her, but I know if I tell her she will feel obligated to tell his wife. How should I approach this situation? If ages are important, my friend is 37, his wife is 33, I don't know how old the young lady I saw was.